Now, if you are not a member of Leafs Nation, which I actually think is most people who listen to this show, surprisingly, as we're a Leaf-centric podcast, Ilya Mikheyev is probably not going to mean that much to you, although you have to understand that this player came in and in the less than 40 games he was here, made a huge, huge difference playing alongside John Tavares and mostly William Nylander. Now, he apparently accepted less money to sign with the team. I can't imagine it was much less because he signed for $1.6 million per season for 2 straight years. So maybe he lost a couple $100,000. It's a lot of money.
It was 1.645.
Sure. Is that what it is? 1.645. But his agent, Dan Milstein, who represents a lot of players from Russia, did say that there was an agreed upon number, but that Ilya did not want to see anyone else get traded. And, it's funny. I actually think this is a pretty believable story. There's some people today kind of calling that into question, and I understand why. Because it does look like a nice public relations sort of bop for him.
Media members? Or media
Funny
people?
that.
Media members, Twitter accounts, like prominent Twitter accounts and stuff. And I get it because a lot of the time there's manufactured PR all the time, and I get that.
Names.
When you look at how Kyle Dubas handled Johnsson and Kapanen's negotiations last season, before Marner was even close to being signed, he said, we have some players that have got to bring their numbers down or they're going to be traded.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they want to? And the next day, Kapanen and Johnsson signed their contracts. The next day. So I think it wasn't that the Leafs were going to trade Ilya Mikheyev, but I definitely think that there was somebody else. And I think that they've sold players. They've sold Joe Thornton. They've sold Wayne Simmons. They've sold a few other guys on the fact that this team does have huge, huge potential upside. They haven't done anything with it yet. But I think Ilya Mikheyev knows, A, he's got a pretty solid little contract that walks him right through to free agency. B, a great role on a team where he gets to play with John Tavares. I mean, where else is Ilya Mikheyev going to get to play with a guy that scored 47 goals a couple years ago? Where's he going to
get that job?
Yeah, right. And beyond that, you can make great endorsement money, and the fans absolutely adore him. And the fans who are used to their star players taking exactly what they want and potentially more actually get a guy who's like kind of a hardworking blue collar player, defensively strong, kind of a pest, and scores some goals. And he's taken a few $100,000 less. What's not to love if you're the average Toronto Maple Leaf fan? And this is a guy that average Leaf fans love, like anybody that like old school Leaf fans love Mikheyev, new school Leaf fans who love graphs and heat maps and all that stuff. We love him too. It's a
heat map Twitter.
He is, yeah.
I love it.
We'll talk about Twitter. Ubiquitous though. Like he's one of those guys, rare guys, kind of like Leo Komarov when Leo Komarov was at the top of his game here in Toronto before that back injury. Everybody loved Leo Komarov. And I think we found kind of the new Uncle Leo, but for a lot less money. So what does Ilya Mikheyev actually bring for anybody that's forgotten? Because remember, we didn't have him for like 6 months.
Yeah, he's a ridiculous penalty killer, and having him stay around definitely helps negate losing Kasperi Kapanen. He's, middle six forward. He was on a 17 goal, 48 point pace. And for the amount of money he's making, that's great. Some people I saw were saying they didn't love that number at 1 year, but at 2, it's good. I think it's good at 1, and it's even better.
How does it hurt you? How does it hurt you at 1?
I don't know. I guess just because he had so little leverage because he played so few games, but like leave that alone. Is he good or not? Is he going to be worth it or not? And to me, he's worth it. Lanky, fast. We didn't get to see a whole lot of his shot. It was kind of weak when he played, and then he got his wrist slashed. So I'm sure that didn't help it, but that wasn't what made him special. What made him special was the way he moves around the ice, the way he covers for defensemen, the way he can kill penalties, the way he's in the corner first, the way he's relentless on players. Kind of maybe a less mean but faster Zach Hyman, if that makes sense.
I was just going to say all the things that you're mentioning are all the things that Zach Hyman brings as well to another.
Just everything you want in a player. Like everything you want in a player. Like think of how hard he had to work rehabbing to get better, to even be there on time for the bubble. And we way overhyped him. with, he was the best player during scrimmages. And then he scored 30 seconds into the warm-up game against Montreal. We got out of hand with that. But he's going to be well worth the money. He's going to play with Tavares probably to start. And if he doesn't, he'll be on the third line or something. Like, he fits perfectly on this team, gives you exactly what you want. Hardworking player, leads by example, fast. Love him.
The Leafs have a glut of players. They are already over the cap, by the way. I think it's over by $75,000 right now. Now that doesn't mean if they could carry a 20-man roster out of, potential 23 with paper transactions, things like that. People are still saying though, hey, like, okay, so you can do this, but then there's Travis Dermott still to be re-signed.
And Joey Anderson.
Anderson. Yeah.
Which I failed to even
maybe
realize.
Not the biggest priority, but if I'm Kyle Dubas and I believe that Zach Hyman will be playing the right side, which I said in a press conference. Sorry, not Zach Hyman, Travis Dermott. If I say Travis Dermott's playing the right side, I want to probably get him under contract. Now, the reason that contract probably hasn't been signed is because of arbitration. The Leafs probably had to prioritize.
Yeah.
But Travis Dermott is going to be a valuable part of this squad going forward. You'd pencil him in at 5'6" on the right side, but the other, like,
how?
You want that depth, but what's the number, and can they do this without moving someone?
No, I don't think so. Or, well, I don't know how you do it. I said in my video yesterday, like, okay, chill. There's 2 months to figure this out. Guys are going to get buried. Nick Robertson might be a casualty. You might have to get sent back to junior. And let's not
junior
confuse.
Even happens.
If junior happens, right. So let's not confuse, though, what Ilya Mikheyev was saying, like, oh, I don't want anyone else to get traded. He doesn't want anyone else to get traded in the way that Andreas Janssen got traded, right? Like, we are trading you just for cap purposes.
Right.
Like, hey, Mikheyev, we were able to acquire Mackenzie Weegar in a deal, and it actually makes sense for our cap, and it makes our team better. He's not going to go, oh, like harumph. He's not going to be upset about that. And it's not up to a guy on your second or third line who's got 39 games of NHL experience to tell a GM, hey, I took a discount. You're not allowed to make any damn trades.
Keep this team together, Kyle.
Yeah. The dynamic that I think is underratedly interesting. Well, actually, two things. One that a few people have spotted is Pierre Engvall is buried on the Leafs cap friendly page, which is interesting because how? I don't think there was an official announcement regarding that. And he makes 1.25, which would be,
I think it's just because he's been sent down to the minors for the offseason.
Yeah, but like, did they ever officially make that move? Or
I think it's just a paper transaction, right?
Is it an assumption?
But we haven't seen
made
that
by
come across the wire, though. Like, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I'll have to ask them.
Yeah.
So there was him, but also at play here. So because Dan Milstein represents bloody everybody with a Russian passport, Alexander Barabanov and Chris Johnston repeatedly brought this up. He's going to play. Like, based on Kyle Dubas's track record with Dan Milstein clients, you would think he's going to get the best opportunity to play. Now, it might be a situation like Petri Conciola from a few years ago where they bring this guy over from the KHL and we're going to give you a chance. And they did. They gave him a chance and he wasn't good. He wasn't good. And so he left and had to go back to the KHL to play with Traktor Chelyabinsk, I believe, where he played with Evgeny Kuznetsov. But then, where is Engvall? Mm-hmm. Is he in the minors? Where is Anderson, Joey Anderson? Mm-hmm. Where is Nick Robertson? All of a sudden, and you might go, well, you get to carry a few extra players, so you might have two extra forwards. No, we were just talking about having a 20-man roster, and that's how they're going to be cap compliant. So there are a lot of questions, but like, have I mentioned Matthews? Have I mentioned Nylander? Have I mentioned Marner? Have I mentioned Tavares? Have I mentioned Riley? Have I, we're talking about the bits and pieces of the lineup right now. So It's something to keep an eye on, but it's not dire. This isn't Vegas. This isn't Vegas having to trade Nate Schmidt for a third. This is the Leafs are like $100,000 or $200,000 over the cap, and they got to do like some finagling. There's a difference between finagling and getting rid of a really good defenseman for nothing.